Hey Tay, what's up everyone? Here we are. Everything looks good there. Oh boy. So I'm a little bit worried about this shot. Typically when I have a distance like this, I'd like to bring it in with a wood as opposed to an iron. Now one of the things that I do like is the fact that we have kind of a good pin here. You can see that there's a lot of green to work with here. It's going to break down to the left. I'm almost, the wind's pointed just a touch to the right, but the green breaks a little left. I'm going to kind of let them offset one another. So I'm just going to kind of keep my position right at straight here. It wouldn't require very much. And it's really going to come down to, do you pull it a little bit or not? So with a down 8, this is going to play very similar to the iron two irons ago, almost identical in scenario, and I can't really tell what's over this mound here. That's one of the biggest concerns that I have. And when I can't tell what's happening over the mountain, now one of the things that I might want to do is I might want to just size this up. It looks like I can land at 240 or all the way up at 140, which is nice. So I don't have to worry. Now, I might have to use sniper if they don't give me pins like this, and I might have to play kind of true distance a little bit more. So let's say this was a tucked pin that they gave me. I might have to use a little bit more of this distance sheet, and you can see my 4 irons right around 170 for a typical land. Into the wind, it's probably going to land 165. I can't tell if this uphill's uphill or downhill, though. So that's one of my biggest concerns. I can't tell if it goes over that mound and then shoots way down, or if it's just kind of, this could be an uphill hole. It could be kind of a flat hole with just a little mound in front. I can't really tell. And with the first time playing it, I'm a little bit unsure about how much to play. But so what this hole would typically, or what the club typically would do, is land right around 170 and roll out to 185. Into this wind, I would say it would probably roll out to maybe about 180. Now, there's a couple other things we got to factor in. That downslope 8, how much is that going to cause it to run out? Looking back at 2 holes ago, that played about 5 yards downhill. I would imagine this is going to play at least 5 yards extra rollout. So instead of typically rolling out to 185, I would imagine it's going to roll out to 190. Would be my guess. At least. Might even be, and just it looks like I do have a little bit of room for the pin behind. So I'm not going to, I'm maybe just kind of going to stick with that. Maybe just to be safe, I'm going to go up to 191 or 192. Just in case, I'm really off by multiple yards, which I could be because I've never played this hole. But, what we're going to do is we're going to play about 5 yards for that wind, so it's going to kind of reduce that number. So if it's typically going to roll out, let's just say it typically rolls out to 192, it's going to probably roll out to 187 because of this wind. So I'm kind of thinking 187 is where my club is for 100%. So I've just kind of worked out the 2 scenarios, one for the downslope and then one for the wind. And I'm going to kind of say that this is going to typically roll out to maybe 187 at 100%. So if I needed to roll out to 175, I need to reduce 12 yards. Each percent is roughly 1.9. So if I need to come off, I need to come off at least 6%. To be safe. So I'm going to try to come off somewhere between 6 to 7% on this club. We're going to try to be kind of as good of a pull as we can down there. And as I mentioned, 6 to 7%. See where I can get. Thinking right here, this is like definite 6 and maybe just an extra, just quarter, like 6.5, 6.25% here. is kind of what I'm taking off here. And let's just see, this is the first time playing the hole. I don't know if this is right, but I have a good feeling that kind of the way that I worked out, kind of, with the downslope. Plus, this is a relatively simple wind. We kind of, with the javelin, what that does is it allows us to kind of get a little bit more aggressive and actually play a little bit more naturally how the club will typically roll out. So it gives us, this is a good thing to do, especially the first time you play holes, because that really gives you a sense of how much these numbers are actually changing. So once I see this and I can see that, it's going to kind of naturally roll out this, it's going to make playing the winds in later situations a little bit easier. So let's go here, and we're just going to kind of pull straight up, as much as we can towards that G. And let's see how this rolls out. It looks like my distance control is pretty good there. More great shot points, almost perfect. It's almost pretty spot on. And again, I can't stress enough, I've never played these holes, but it's just kind of being able to learn the logic and the percentages. You can essentially kind of play by feel that you're going to be able to pull these shots off just based on, course knowledge, basically. And as you can see, it's just basically an understanding of the game and how it works. So I can't stress enough to you guys that that's really the main concept that you want to kind of try to take away from this, is you want to kind of increase your game knowledge base, as opposed to necessarily needing to actually figure out the course itself. Because, optimally, it's going to be better once I've had more exposure and I can play this multiple times. But you can see for a very first playthrough, I can just basically use what I know about the game to still play the game at a very high level. So this is kind of the takeaway that you want to take from this, is you want to learn those kind of advanced concepts and, dynamics of the physics of how the game's going to play out. And you'll see as a result, you can play, very high quality shots just by increasing that knowledge. So, good luck there, guys. And I'll catch you guys on this next one momentarily.